Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to be replacing all the lights on my second gen 4Runner from front to back, inside and out with LEDs. And since I haven't seen anybody else do this on YouTube or in any very good write-ups, I decided I'm going to walk you guys through the whole process. There's not going to be any specific order to the way that I do them because I don't have all the lights with me right now. So I'll just kind of show you which lights I'm putting in where and show you how it all works. And at the end of the video, I'll make sure to uh, put a list of all the products that I use and leave links down in the description. So my 4Runner is a 1995, and this should be the same, exactly the same for the 94 and 95 with these composite headlights. However, if you have the earlier generations with the sealed beam lights right here, it should be pretty much the same except for the headlight replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my lights and get started wherever I see fit. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to start with is these turn signal housings, and it's just held in by 2 Phillips screws. So go ahead and pull these out. Alright, after you get the screws loose, of course this just pops right out. Make sure you don't lose your screws. The bulb just twists and release. And to get the bulb out of the socket, you push in, twist to the left, and it'll come right out. Now, the LEDs that I bought, if you look here, are almost the exact same length, which is really good, and the posts are in the exact same spot too. So we'll go ahead and this goes in exactly the way it came out. Just line up the 2 posts, push in, twist, and it should be locked like that. And then before you put all this back together, we're going to test it to make sure that it works by just hitting the hazards button. The installation is just the exact opposite of the way it came out. And then guys, make sure not to tighten these too much because you can crack these plastic housings. They're not meant to be super incredibly tight. So it's the same process over on the other side. So I'm going to do that and move on to the next one. Next up, we're going to replace the running lights in these side corners here. So same with the turn signal, it just has these 2 Phillips head screws. And then once you get these 2 screws out, try to get behind the light housing, pull it towards you, and then push forwards. And then just like with the turn signals, you just twist this, pull it out. And then to remove this bulb, you just pull straight out. It's just a little wedge. Rolling around. And we're replacing it with just something like this. It just pushes right into the socket. And you want to test these before putting it all together. So I'll show you real quick. If you have it in the wrong way, it won't light up since these are LED. So make sure you have it in the correct direction. And then, just like the turn signals, it installs the opposite way that you got it out. If it starts to pull the lens out like that, then your screw is just not lined up. So make sure you get it lined up before you push it all the way in. It may help to loosen your top one a little bit, so it'll give this some wiggle room. We're going to do these little safety lights next, and this is something that a lot of people aren't going to replace with LED, but I'll show you guys how to do it anyways. So, just like the other ones we've worked on, just 2 screws. So one thing to note with these, I'm not going to replace mine because I don't care to have this as an LED, but to pull it out, you just grab it and pull, and these little pieces will release it, just like that. However, be careful grabbing this if you just leave your door open to do most of the work, because these bulbs will get really hot. If you push down on the little button right here that keeps your door lights off when it's closed, this light will turn off and it'll be easier to handle. That's how you change that one, and then when you're done, alright, next up we're going to replace these map lights up here. And to do that, first we will remove this little cap here. Just stick a small screwdriver down into that and pry it, and it comes off fairly easily. And then next, on the back side, we'll just get a screwdriver up against this plastic piece and twist it to kind of pop it off. Let's see if I can do that side from here.
Towards you. Right there.
No. There we go. Come back to this side. And then the whole cover just pops off. And then these lights are the same as the ones over in the corners in the door. So to remove it, you just push this piece to the side and it basically falls right out. So then you take an LED similar shape like this, and to put it in, try not to block the light. You just put the one side in and press it up on the spendy side, and then it just locks into place. And then we test it to make sure that it works. You can see the difference in the brightness between the two there. We'll go ahead and do the other side. And actually, before I do, get this up close here. You can see in the springs, if I can get it to focus, there are little holes that the corners of the bulb sit into. You can kind of see there. So make sure your bulb sits inside those little holes. There you go. See, we always test to make sure the LED is the correct direction. There we go. And that's both of them working. And then to put it back together, put it over the buttons first and then clip the back side. And then take this piece and just put it right back up in there. And then we've got LED. Alright, next up we'll do this dome light up here, and we'll put it to the off position before we change it out. And you just stick a screwdriver up here and pry this apart. That just comes out like that. It's a good time to dump out any bugs or anything that get up in there. And same with the lights in the front. You just push this piece to the side and it'll fall out for you. Just like that. And again, the one side in the hole, and push the other side up till it clicks in, and then we will try it. Flip it around. There we go. And then the cover, set on one side, push it onto the other, and then we're good to go. Alright, next we're going to do this high mount stoplight here. We'll start with the 2 Phillips head screws. And then once we have that out, we'll try to pry this lens off. Just like that. And if you use something plastic, you won't gouge into the trim here. And then if you open it with the lens instead of pulling this whole piece off, just grab the light that's in here and pull straight out. You can see this one's pretty well burned out. It's actually, the glass isn't shattered, which is amazing. But we'll go ahead and replace it. I'm replacing it with a larger wedge, so you can see it's a little bit longer than the factory bulb, but it's not as small as what we use for some of the other lights, like the markers up front. So we'll stick this down into there, and
It's auto-focusing. I don't know what I was doing. Alright, you're fine.
And if you look closely down into the hole, you can see the direction that the LED goes in. So we'll go ahead and stick that in there. Oops. And then we'll test it to make sure it works. Alright, so next up on the back we're going to do the reverse light bulb and the license plate light here. So to do that, let's remove these 2 Phillips screws. Okay, then when you get to this point, it should be nice and loose here. There's a pressure fitting piece right about here behind the lens. So we'll just go ahead and take our trim tool, stick it back here. It's really easy to pry, and it comes right out. And then on the back side, once you have it loose, go ahead and remove this wire from the clip there so you can get access. And before you remove this, take the clip out of this holder here, or the wire out of this clip here. There we go. And you want to do this step before removing any of the bulbs so that you don't break the bulbs on accident. I took the bulb out first on the other side here and shattered one of them inside the housing. So once you get that removed, go ahead and just twist and pull out, and twist and pull that out too. And these 2 we're actually going to replace with the same size bulb that we have here. So we'll just go ahead and pull that out. Grab an LED, put that in the license plate light there, pull out the reverse light, put in another LED there, and then we'll test them both. And then, once we get all this set up, the green wires are your license plate light. And you can tell by looking at the housing here, this only has 3 pegs on this light, and this one has 4, so you can't plug them in the wrong way. So we'll do the license plate light first. We'll put this wire back in this clip, like that. And then here's that pressure fitting piece I told you about. It just slides right into here. There's another one here. So we'll click the wire back in, line up those two pieces, push, it'll hold itself. And then last step, just put the screws back in the holes. Alright, so next up we're going to do the lights in your tail light housing, which is your tail and brake light and your turn signal. So you got to remove these two bolts here, which you can do with a Phillips screwdriver, but these have already been taken out a little bit and the insides are stripped. So if you use just a 10mm socket, and then if you pull straight towards the outside of the vehicle, and there are just these two pressure fittings that fit in right over here. But first up is try to remove this from the clip here if you can't get out the bulb. We'll do the turn signals out first. Oh, these actually come out pretty easy. So for your brake light, I'm not doing an LED for these because a lot of the LEDs do not do the dual brightness very well. But just to show you guys how it's done, you take the tail light, you just push in, twist, and it comes right out. And you'll notice the difference between the turn signal and the brake lights. This is actually the wrong kind of bulb to be in here. Anyways, let me get an LED. An old one. So this is the turn signal bulb, and this is a brake light bulb. You can see here that the pegs on your turn signal are the same distance apart from the bottom, and on your brake lights they're up a little bit because this is a dual filament bulb and this is just a single filament. You can also look at the bottoms. The dual filament brake light has two things for the two filaments, and your turn signal just has the one. So we'll go ahead and put the brake light back in here. And the brake light only goes in one way because one side's taller than the other. And you can just look down in here and see that. Another way to tell is if you push in and twist and it doesn't go in just super easy, it's probably in there the wrong way. But for our turn signal, we are going to do an LED since it's a single brightness. And just like with the other front ones, you just push in and twist, and then we'll check to make sure it works. Alright, and then the last one we have to do today is this one right up here. So you just stick a screwdriver in there and pop the lens off. And same as all the ones up front, you just push this piece over to the side. This one is a little tight in there, but it'll pull right out. Alright, then we'll take our LED, and these are actually longer than the ones that are in the fronts. Then, just like the front ones, push it in there. And then we'll test it. Grab our cover, clips back on, with a little persuasion. That's all there is to it. Alright, so I lost the audio in this part of my video for some reason, so I'm just going to have to do a voiceover to kind of show you what to do. To take the grill off, to get to the headlights, there's a lot of these little tabs that you'll have to take off. They have
a little piece that you push down that will go through a slot in the grill, just like this. You push down on it, and then it should release the grill. I broke probably half of mine, and my grill went back on and is on there pretty tight. But after you get the grill off, you have to take the bolts off of these headlights. There are 4, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, and 2 on the side. Once you get those bolts out, the headlight has a clip on the inside towards the center of the truck, kind of pointing to it there. You can see the white piece that holds the clip in. You just have to get something back behind there to help pry it out, or just pull straight out. But be careful not to break the piece, but it'll pop right out. Once that's popped out, you take this plastic piece, twist it to the left and pull it off, and then the whole bulb will pull straight out of the housing. Another way to do this, if you don't want to pull the bulb and clip out at the same time, is you can disconnect the wire connector from the bulb and then untwist the connection later. Now, to get your LED ready to go in, most of them have this twist lock piece that you can pull off so that you can then place the factory bulb retainer piece on, and then you put your plastic alignment piece back in with the gasket. One thing that you need to be sure of is that the gasket on your halogen bulb came off, so that you're not trying to put a double gasket back into the housing. On this side, you can see I unclipped the wire and then pulled the retainer off. If you're doing it on the ground like I am, be careful not to scratch up the lens. You can see in there are these 3 little retaining pieces that help align the bulb, and they're not equidistant apart, so the bulb will only go in one way. If it doesn't go in easily the first time, make sure you check and line everything up. You don't want to break any of these, because then you'll never seat your bulb correctly, your light output will be affected, and you just won't be happy with the final product. So here's what it looks like with all the lights installed. You need to make sure that they're aimed correctly. A lot of times with LEDs into factory housings, the aim will go up a little bit, which glares into oncoming traffic, and that's not what you want. But anyways, I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I'll leave a link to all the products I used in the description below, and subscribe for more, and hope to see you in the next video.